A couple of months ago, when King Kong was back at the Empire State, I thought now he has got to be a threat, not to the building, but to the billboard industry. After all, Kong is a balloon. You can take him down anytime you like. Billboards, on the other hand, are big, fixed, expensive structures that have got to be defended against politicians, maintained, lit, rented. How can a billboard compete with something lighter than air? Kong, I figured, is the future. But I may have figured wrong, because there is something about billboards. Not just the little ones, though there used to be lots and lots of those, but the big ones. In Paris, the Eiffel Tower was once a billboard for a giant Citroën ad, but the very big ones in Times Square, they have a presence and a mystery that beats any balloon. The mystery being, how do you get from a little picture of 3 models with a product to this gigantic picture of the same 3 models with a product? How do they do that? To find out, I asked A.J. Schifano, Vice President and Operations Officer of one of the biggest billboard manufacturing firms, the Winston Network in New York City. He explained to me how it's done step by step. First of all, the client sends in a mock-up of how the billboard's supposed to look. And that's accompanied in this case by an actual photograph of 2 models drinking some cognac in the ocean. That photograph has to be cropped so that it fits the shape of a standard billboard. And once that's done, a draftsman takes some clear plastic and lays it over the photo and then etches all the important lines and contrasts. And when he's done, you look closely, you can see that he's reduced the photo to an intricate line drawing. And that drawing is then taken out to a kind of movie projector. So we are standing in really a giant screening room.
We're in what we call our Pounce projection room.
Our Pounce projection
room, exactly.
On one side of the room is a projector containing the tiny etching, and way over on the other side is a wall of white paper, which receives the image, in this case, an airplane.
It's an image exactly the scale of what we want to paint.
And this fellow's job is to pencil in all the lines and then go over the lines with a Pounce machine. That's an electronic gun. So the line becomes a series of tiny little burned holes. The idea is to create a stencil. Now watch what happens here. This messy piece of paper is actually a stencil for a gigantic hand. You can't see the tiny little holes that form the lines, but when they swab the paper with charcoal dust and then remove the paper, voila, there is the hand. Now this stencil can make 100 hands, 200 hands for 100, 200 posters. The lines are then redrawn with indelible pencil, and now it's time to paint. Now I'm looking here at this giant finger, and it's got a lot of subtle tones in it. Who told the painter to use a flesh tone here and a darker yellow here and whatever?
Well, we're supplied a piece of artwork from the agency or advertiser, and we're not asking anyone to be creative. All we're asking them is to copy this thing exactly like this.
But she's just told to make it look like the picture.
Exactly like the illustration.
And the closer she gets, the happier you are.
We are, right.
If she comes up with a purple hand, she's fired.
She's fired, exactly.
The 3M company is now testing a robot that can read a stencil, mix the paint, and paint a billboard. But a good pouncer, says Schifano. By the way, where does the word pounce come from?
You got me.
Whatever they are, Schifano likes them to be human, robots being much more suitable for balloons of gorillas.